If you're in this class, hopefully you're an agency with clients that need Pinterest. Pinterest is relevant for anybody in the health and beauty industry, anybody in food and drink, anything in the fitness industry. It's huge. DIY. I even used it in education when I was at Curiosity. What I found personally is that Pinterest is the place that you go to and you advertise on or you post to, because that's where people are in their active buying mentality. That's where people are there to look for ideas for things to buy, whether it's a dresser or redesigning their room or looking at people's abs to figure out which supplements they want to use. It doesn't matter. The point is they're looking at pictures of things that they want to and buy. That's why you and your clients need to be on Pinterest. And we're not going to get into the weeds on SEO, but one of the reasons I loved Pinterest is because it created an awesome footprint and more inbound links that helped with the overall SEO goals for me at the time. Let me introduce my two colleagues here. Susan, let's start with you. If you want to go ahead and give a quick introduction.
Yeah, hi, nice to meet everyone. My name is Susan Moeller, and I am the marketing manager at Tailwind. Tailwind is the #1 Pinterest scheduler, and we offer solutions to help you get the most out of using Pinterest for your clients.
And down there, Sarah. Sarah, say hi.
Hello guys, my name is Sarah Grove and I am a customer success associate at Tailwind, specializing on the Pinterest side. So anytime you guys write into us, anytime you have a client or anybody has questions, I will be who you're talking to.
Yeah, and I'm Alex, founder of Partner Programs, but I don't matter in this case. We're all about Tailwind today. So the entire premise of this course is a new revenue stream for you guys. It's if you're already doing Pinterest marketing, hopefully this is a way to optimize it. We believe this is the best practice of Pinterest marketing. It's a way as an agency where you can scale your Pinterest services. But today we're going to go over the general stuff that you need to know to qualify yourself, see if you're in a good position to sell this type of a service, and give you some insight into what the platform looks like. We're going to show you a quick demo of Tailwind app. And then we're going to go through some pricing structures. We're actually going to show you other agencies' websites that sell a Pinterest service and sell a ton of Pinterest marketing. And then we're going to end with obviously some links that you should go and check out on your own, and some contact information for the people at Tailwind to go ahead and get started. Further in this course, you'll hear from the VA development company and how to set up the VA that could potentially manage this Pinterest service for you. But first, let's talk about why Pinterest and why Pinterest now.
Yeah, it's such a great question. I don't know if you've seen any news recently, but especially since people have been at home a lot in the spring of 2020, dealing with COVID in whatever way it's impacting their areas, Pinterest has seen a tremendous amount of growth in search volume. And we think it's a great time, if you've not considered Pinterest, to begin considering it for your clients. Pinterest sometimes gets lumped in with other social networks like maybe Facebook or Instagram. And there's a bit of a misconception that I want to just tackle head on in this. Pinterest is really much more of a visual search engine than it is a social network. And that matters a lot for you as you do marketing for your clients, because when people are on Pinterest, like Alex mentioned earlier, they're there because they're interested in buying something. They're looking for ideas to improve their lives. So it's that magical state that we as marketers want to encounter people in when they're actually in that aspirational mindset of what their lives could be or might be if they just had this thing or this other thing. So Pinterest is a great opportunity in general because of why people come there. It's a great opportunity now because there's been a resurgence in interest and a lot of the topics that Pinterest really lends itself to. And it's a great opportunity because it is a visual search engine. I also think that for people who are in marketing, it's nice to be able to work on Pinterest because it's not the always on network. You're not going to need necessarily a community manager to be answering questions at midnight on a Saturday when you're using Pinterest. And Tailwind helps with that as well, being able to pin when it's convenient for you. So I think of it as a low stress social network / visual search engine. As you're thinking about the clients that you work with and whether or not adding a Pinterest marketing service would be a good idea for you, I would look at your client base and begin by asking if you are predominantly serving people who are local brick and mortar stores. If most of your clients are local brick and mortar stores, then Pinterest is probably not going to be as good of an opportunity for them. But if you have clients with an online presence where they're trying to gain interest or gain traction or traffic, then Pinterest is a good option. You also want to consider the type of content they have. Do they have a business or service that lends itself to some kind of appealing visual? If they do, then definitely Pinterest is a good place for them.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about a tool that I used to use, and I don't know if it's still relevant, but there's that tool where you can type in, I think, your industry, and you can see the total number of actual accounts that are managing those industries. And I'll try to find it, and we'll share it with everybody if I do find it. But it was a super valuable tool that backs into the qualification of that industry. So like, if there are a lot of boards in that industry with a lot of repins and a lot of followers, that's what the database showed, then that's your qualifier. So if you have someone in that vertical, just go ahead and type in the vertical, type in, whatever keywords they're after. And I think the database showed total boards, total repins, and total followers of each board. And I was using that all the time when I was doing Pinterest marketing. So hopefully I'll find that for you, and hopefully it's still active. But Sarah, let's go into a little bit of this. So like, or maybe Susan or both, but I want to talk about, Tailwind specifically, and not, we know what it is. We're going to have everyone go to the website, but what does it really mean for the agency clients that are using Tailwind?
Well, why Tailwind and why it's important for our agencies to use this and for our clients and for all the PAs to be involved is because we are an official Pinterest marketing partner, which means that we are certified to develop all of our tools through Pinterest. Now they have approved everything that we develop okay, let me backtrack here for a second. It's a tool that is developed to help Pinterest marketing strategy, help you develop your strategy, create a schedule, create more time in your life to do the things that people actually want to be doing. They don't want to be sitting in front of a computer screen all the time. So it saves time, it increases traffic, keeps the pinning consistent. So you can have multiple clients, spend your day addressing 5 to 6 clients at a time, an hour at a time, and their Pinterest schedule is ready to go for like a month. We also track analytics, so they can integrate their Google Analytics. And so there's lots of different ways to tracking all of their traffic and all of the information that you get to create your account with.
Yeah, I'm on the marketing team for Tailwind, and I know if you can't track it and prove it, it didn't really happen. So those analytics are incredibly valuable for agencies who want to be able to demonstrate their value to clients.
And the price point's right, so we'll go in and show you some of the pricing stuff. But the price point is it's negligible to the point where it's something that you should have in your stack, regardless of how much Pinterest marketing you are doing. It's an awesome tool for the cost. And then so the biggest thing here I think is the partnership with Pinterest is not going away. At least not anytime soon. I mean, a lot of agencies that I know are worried about getting on board with a tool that's maybe a partner now, or maybe says they're working on their partnership or has a loose partnership. This is more prevalent with Facebook syndication tools. Yeah, anything that you just want to address there, any FAQs around the Pinterest API connection?
Yeah, it's a solid relationship. They have calls with us regularly. We just hosted someone from Pinterest, I can't remember her title right now, on our Facebook Live, where we do a lot of education for our members. And it's, it's really the foundation of our business. So, I think that's a value that you can expect from working with Tailwind. And because of those frequent communications that we have back and forth between our marketing and product team with Pinterest partner reps, we're also able to get a lot of good information early and help distribute it to our audiences. And that helps to keep the people who are using Tailwind up to speed on best practices. And as you know, in the industry, they change from time to time. So when you're working with Tailwind, you're going to have an in to good information about best practices from Pinterest.
Yep. And just like any social media add-on, if you're a client, you do not have to tell your client, if you're an agency, you do not have to tell your clients to go and sign up for Tailwind. If you have access to their Pinterest account already because you're managing their social accounts, you just go to Tailwind, start on, I believe you have a trial period, but start on one of the lower level accounts, whatever's going to work for your client, and start playing around with the back end and set up some syndications and some workflows there, and learn it. And then obviously if it's something that we want to grow with, the next classes here are going to show you how to scale the service edition of Pinterest marketing. So let's talk about that real quick. So let's go into the demo account, Sarah, if we can open up a view, and let's poke around and see what we've got.
All right. Can you guys see my screen over here?
Awesome.
All right. So the page that we're on right now is kind of one of the home pages that whenever you log in, this is what you'll see. You'll immediately see the followers, the pins, the repins, the comments, the growth, your virality score, engagement score, and engagement rate for that member's or that client's specific Pinterest account. The great thing about getting started is the first thing I want to do is head over to your schedule. Now, this is Tailwind's account, so it's going to look a little different on just a basic member account that VAs usually sign up their members with. What you see here are specific time slots that what we call our smart schedule is going to link up with a Pinterest account, analyze all of the data on that Pinterest account, and pull time slots based on that member's engagement. So we can already give you the best times for that individual to post to Pinterest to increase their engagement, increase their traffic based off all of their analytics and past information. So this is where they'll create their schedule. They can do it Monday through Sunday. They can do a recreate schedule automatically for each day. And that's going to allow you to put in a certain time per day of how many time slots they want. It'll show you the average time slot per day, which is going to be in addition to that smart loop feature that's on our schedule that you'll see later. And also one of the really great things that we just added is something called Smart Guide. Now what Smart Guide is going to do is going to keep your member or your client in the best practices of Pinterest. It's going to keep their account safe. It's going to keep them under those publishing limits. So when you're under those publishing limits, you'll get an all clear kind of notification. But if they do come in and go over, they're going to be given a spam safeguard warning just to let them know, hey, you're reaching that limit of a possible spammy behavior. We want to keep you guys in that 15 to 25 pin per day average, just so you can stay in those successful guidelines that Pinterest is advising us to do. So you'll come back in here, recreate that schedule, and then boom, all those time slots are going to be added. They'll also have the ability to add a time slot randomly. So if you don't see a time slot here, you can come in and add a custom one anytime that you'd like. Now, once they have all of their schedule set up, you'll want to head over to your drafts. And this is where basically all of the work is done. This is where the Pinterest VA lives, scheduling and creating and getting all of your pins over to your schedule. And we see a few pins here. They've already got their title, their description, and the URL. And how this happens is we're gonna go ahead and create a pin, upload a photo, and they can easily grab a photo from their files, upload, bulk upload, add as many files as you want at one time to get all those pins there. Now, this pin here specifically is when somebody manually uploads an image. There's not gonna be a board, there's not gonna be a title, description, and it's going to automatically grab the default URL that is attached to that Pinterest at that time. Because Pinterest requires a URL, we're always gonna have your back and make sure that the URL is there so it can still be published successfully. Now you'll wanna do is come in here, add a title. We add the little pin title best practices, gives you a little insight into how creating those titles, which hopefully those pin VAs will already know the magical tips and tricks on creating those titles. Add in a description. Once you have all that added, come in here, an easy drop down to select the boards that it's going to be added to, and then add it to your queue. Once it's added to your queue, it'll populate over here in one of those open time slots that, again, is created specifically for that client with their engagement rate. Another great feature is, let me just head over here to our Tailwind blog. So let's say this is one of our Instagram articles, but I'm going to show you our Tailwind browser extension. Overview of what our browser extension is you can download it to your browser, and on any web page on Pinterest specifically, you can easily grab the pins in the metadata or schedule the pins directly from Pinterest. That's not going to work. Directly from Pinterest. So it's easier to pull in a bunch of that information or your pins at bulk. So it's easier for people to add multiple pins at once. So again, saves you time, adds that stuff in. Let me find one of these Pinterest articles. Man, this is just no luck today. There we go. Let's do this one. Okay, again, so you'll see it pulled up this Pinterest image that you can put as a pin. So I'll select it, go to schedule, and it's gonna bring something that looks just like the draft page up. So you can add in your board, but another great thing about the extension is it automatically grabs the title, description, and URL from that specific page. So again, saves you time and having to enter all that information in. Now, once you have all of that uploaded, you've got some stuff scheduled over to your drafts or to your schedule. I'll show you guys how to do a multiple one. So when you add multiple boards to one pin specifically, it's going to give them the option to use an interval. So that allows you to schedule one pin out to up to the 10 most relevant boards for that pin specifically. So again, saves you time to send multiple pins out to multiple boards. Now, once you've got that information entered, you've got some stuff sent over to your schedule. I'll show you guys what that looks like. You'll come over here, you'll get a quick glance of specifically what those pins are going out for that day. If there is any need that they can come in here and edit it specifically on the schedule page, so there's no need to send things back to drafts. You have locks. These locks lock in specific times that you don't want those pins to be moved because you do have the ability to shuffle the queue. So if there are a bunch of pins closer together, they have the ability to click one pin and it'll mix everything up for them. And one other thing to notice on your schedule is since we are in that smart guide little spam safeguard, we are actually in the all clear because we are in that pinning frequency that Pinterest is for best practices. Now that is your drafts, your schedule, and how to set up your schedule. Now another great thing that even Susan mentioned earlier is our analytics. If we can't track it, if we can't see it, it didn't happen. So what we have is a published pin section. All right. Now while that's loading, I'll go ahead and tell you guys about it. It's going to show the board that the pin was pinned to, the pin specifically, how many repins that pin has received, the comments, the date that it was pinned, and they'll also receive any actionable items on the side if the pin is already published, so they can go back, reschedule the pin to a relevant board, add it to our tribes, I'll touch base on that in a second, add it to our smart loops, or even find similar content to help boost kind of their schedule if they're struggling to create pins. But hopefully with a pin VA, they'll have somebody help designing those pins for them. Now with the monitor your domain, you'll be able to see your top pins report. Now this is a new report. I'm very excited about this. This was a highly requested feature from a lot of our members. It's going to show you your rank of your pins, specifically by most clicked or most saved. You'll be able to see the pinner, how many impressions that specific pin has, close-ups, saves, and clicks. So it's going to show you that save rate and that click rate, which is a very sought after, important Pinterest world analytic tracking. People are very, very interested in that. So the other thing to track is we'll be to track the organic activity specifically for their websites. You'll also be able to check the referral traffic again. So the visits, visitors, page views, and revenue. And the only way to actually get this to show on a specific member's account is to add your Google Analytics. And we do have an integration with that, so they can add that in. Now, once you're able to set up the account, review all of the analytics, we offer a feature called Tribes, which is a specifically niche-focused community within Tailwind itself. What it's going to do is provide members with inspiration, connecting with a community specifically within their niche, help them find more content to kind of supplement their schedule with while they're trying to get started or create pins themselves. It's a really great community within Tailwind itself. And what that is going to show you is they can create specific tribes, or they're like groups of people with the same niche. And so they can come in here, submit their pins. Your VA can come in here. Again, this is another place your VA will live and track and monitor for you. They can schedule out these specific pins. It looks just like the draft board. So you'll add in your board. You'll have your title, your description. It'll already have all the URLs from all of the other individuals within that tribe that are attached. So all you have to do is either set a custom time or add to queue. They'll be able to track which pins they specifically submitted to that tribe, weekly highlights, and also be able to see the tribe insights specifically on how the tribes are performing. Now, another one is the Smart Loop, which was all those colorful time slots that you saw within the schedule. And what Smart Loop is going to do is it's going to loop your best performing content throughout the year. So if you have a really great Christmas pin that gets really great traffic right about Christmas time, or once the holidays really start to hit, you can create a dated loop that's going to start maybe in October and then end in January. But it'll have that pin go out to your most relevant boards, let's say twice a year, which is what Pinterest is really advising right now. You don't want to loop it too much. Again, kind of stay away from any of that spammy content. They can create as many loops as they like. They can even create evergreen loops, which they can loop throughout the year. So if you have a really great, let's say recipe, you're a food blogger, they can go ahead and do that throughout the year. They'll be specific, they can notify them by specific colors on their schedule. And then once they are done, that's really all the spots that the Pinterest VA is going to be living. So that is Tailwind kind of in a nutshell.
I love it. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's great. I mean, it's incredibly robust. I wasn't expecting everything. I mean, I am not honestly transparently a user of Tailwind. So I'm learning with everybody as we go. I did not know it did all of that. So so the good news is you as the agency do not need to know all of that. The Pinterest VAs that this course comes with, or the recommendation there, they are all trained up in Pinterest marketing with Tailwind as the back end, which is awesome. So that's what this is all about. It's about a service in a box. So let's go
back.
I think
oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, let's go back to Susan to talk about pricing. I mean, let's say I'm an agency, I'm interested in this. I mean, obviously I want to use it for my clients, but the bigger goal here is to wrap my head around pricing. So let's show some examples and let's talk through what we suggest they start with and how they suggest pricing and selling this type of service.
Yeah, so Pinterest marketing is like any discipline. There are lots of things to know about it. I think for agencies, the critical pieces that you're going to want to be able to clearly communicate to your clients are the value that Pinterest brings, which is driving traffic to your sites. And it also allows you to show off products and services in a visual way that will have a long-lasting impact. As far as pricing that, we because we are one of the leading Pinterest scheduling platform out there, we have tons of agencies who are using us. And I wanted to give just a couple of examples. If you were going to build a service around Tailwind, there are a couple of different categories that you could offer. The first would just be an audit or setup of an account for a client. And then you could also offer ongoing maintenance of their Pinterest account for them. Now, if you are looking for the prices that you would charge for that, a very basic month-to-month amount to charge for Pinterest maintenance would be about $600. That comes from, or that's what the Pinterest agent or the Pinterest marketers would be charging you. And then of that, you'll want to plan to either have someone in-house who does the work, get them trained in how to do this, or you can work with a Pinterest VA. Now, Alex, I think I have another link here I want to pull up real quick. One second. Yeah, so this is a look at Simple Pin Media. They're a great Pinterest management company, and they have some good examples of the types of services that they offer. So this is built around Tailwind. Tailwind provides the ability to pin 600 times per month without it driving you crazy. So they would also include in that maintaining group boards, getting clients into group boards, and encouraging them to join Tailwind tribes. And they're charging $600 a month for that service. Now, if you continue to scroll, you get a little bit more customized service where they're meeting with the clients, they're sending out strategy emails, strategy calls, and that they're charging $950 per month. And then the VIP management includes all of the above. And it also includes image creation and UTM tracking. One thing that you need to factor in when you're thinking about a Pinterest marketing service is the need to have a lot of pins. Now, when you're looking at Pinterest, you think of the pin itself as content, and that pin needs to point to content elsewhere on the web as well. So one of the things that Pinterest recommends is starting with just creating new pins for old content. So this is another way that you can optimize content that you may have created for your clients in the past. If you want to go back and see which of those have performed well and then increase the traffic to them, you can use your Pinterest VA to get traffic to those blog pages by creating fresh pins for them.
Awesome. Yeah, that was really good. I mean, I'm looking at a couple of these things, and there's margins in there. There's obviously, the cost for Tailwind. So let's talk about that. Let me just reshare real quick to our
Tailwind costs, are you ready? $14.99 a month, if you pay monthly. We're going to recommend that you just go ahead and pay for the annual plan, which nets out to $9.98 a month or $9.99 a month, or a total of $119 a year. So we're not looking at a significant investment in the software that's going to make this possible for your clients to get these great results.
Yeah. So you can imagine this. So if you're looking at margins here, so let's talk about hours. So whoever wants to chime in, this is $600 a month. What do you estimate the agency and or VA, the person managing one client on the $600 a month package, how many hours would you estimate this is?
Yeah, that is a great question. I would tend to think that hours may not be the best way to frame that, because if you're working with someone who has a lot of experience in Pinterest management, which you want to do, their hours are going to be a lot less because they're good at it. They know what to do, they know when to do it, and they know all the ways to make their time count. So I like to think of margins in terms of how much you might want to pay a VA for the services that they offer. And if you're looking at someone who is going to be creating images, doing A/B tests, interacting for you in Tailwind Tribes, and scheduling out all of that great content, I think that you would be looking at paying that VA. One second, I've got my notes here.
Yeah, I think
We're just going to edit this out, right?
Yeah, I think it was $50 a month or $50 an hour for the fully trained VA. That's what I heard the quote was, but maybe don't quote me on that.
No, Pinterest managers are going to charge a custom rate depending on the client's needs, but you would consider starting offering your services at $1,000 a month and then pay. Yeah, you're right, Alex. I'm sorry. Let's rewind. Bloop. When you're thinking about building a Pinterest marketing service, you might think about charging about $1,000 for the following. It would include the account audit and setup, designing pins, SEO or keyword research, weekly scheduling. Those are the things that you could bill your clients for at about $1,000 a month. And I would estimate that you would pay a good VA about $50 an hour for that. Honestly, if you're interacting with a VA who refuses to give you a price in hours, that's also fine. The reason is a lot of times people who are really good at this can get pretty fast at it, and they may be charging you for their expertise more so than their hourly rate. But $50 an hour is a ballpark, so you could be developing a service that will give you a 50% margin. If you're paying a VA $500 a month for the service and you're billing your client $1,000 a month, then that's a fairly nice margin.
Yeah. Okay. Got it. So, we don't know specifics with this agency and who they're paying and how much they're paying, but you can kind of back into the costs of $950 a month. There's probably 50% margin if they're, if they're a business, which they are, if they're a business looking after employees and upkeep and everything. So I'm guessing there's about a 50% margin. So $450, almost none of that is the Tailwind cost, very negligible cost there. So you can imagine paying about 9 hours or having a VA cost you about 9 hours of time, maybe 9 to 15 hours of time to run this for each client a month, maybe less. And as they get better, it obviously trims down. So you can expect about a 50% margin in each of these, and then divide that by, $40 an hour for a very experienced, well-trained VA to run it. And that's your margin there. So consider that when you're pricing. I mean, if you have higher ticket type clients, if you have more of a managed service, obviously there's more margins you can bake in. But this is just a good example. I think this is a perfect example of something that a client would not look at and say, where's the $600 going? They would look at that and say, that's a lot of work for $600. So that's a perfect example, and thank you for sharing that. Okay, good. All right, so anything that we missed on the pricing side of things, on just understanding how to set up the service packages, anything that we missed there?
No, I think that it's key to help your clients understand the value that Pinterest offers. I think that as you're communicating with them about your service, you want to emphasize the best practices that Pinterest is asking for, which includes tons and tons of fresh content. And when you are presenting that to a client, I think it makes absolute sense for them to not spend their nights and weekends making new pins, but to hire you to take care of that for them.
Mm-hmm.
If you have graphic design staff ready to go, then that's something you can handle for them. Subscribe to Tailwind and we'll help your staff get up and running on this. And if you don't, then there are qualified VAs who really know what they're doing and can provide the services that you want to offer to your clients in a way that makes sense for them financially and makes you a lot of money too. So let's do that. Let's let's start selling Pinterest marketing and encouraging people to use this not so social network that drives tons of traffic and sales for your customers.
I love it. Thank you both. We'll end with a CTA. So I'm an agency wanting to get involved now. I think the suggestion is start your trial now. You're going to go through the rest of this course probably today. It's a short course, but start your trial now. So where should they go? Tailwindapp.com. Anything else?
Tailwindapp.com. Download your Pinterest template so you can start getting those creative juices flowing, and check out what PinVA is offering in terms of how to build out a program, including how to onboard a new client. They've got some great stuff there that will save you a ton of time in getting new clients lined up to start your services.
Awesome.
Okay, bye-bye. Thanks.